Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 15 ladder. If you've seen yesterday's episode, you'll know that I did change my team up a bit. We are now using Mega Gardevoir over Kangaskhan, and Gengar is back onto the team with some familiar faces like Suicune and Terrakion and Heatran. Yesterday's episode was really fun. It was a slightly later upload, so if you've not seen that, definitely check it out. And to everyone who came to the stream last night, thank you all so much. I actually just applied for Twitch partnership, and I'm waiting to hear back from them, and I am hoping to stream like 3 to 4 times a week now, so to everyone who's been coming out to the streams, thanks a lot, and for those that want to watch me stream, definitely follow me at twitch.tv/CybertronVGC. Anyway, let's get into today's episode. Rating currently is actually 1822, which is pretty nice. I've been able to get a pretty good win streak over the last couple of episodes, and 1822 is actually top 30 in the world right now, and third in the US. So I was second in the US after yesterday's episode, but then got passed. But right now, first place is actually only around 1850, so if I can win out these next couple of episodes, we'll be able to capture the #1 spot in the country. And first place in the world currently is around 1870 to 80, so we're actually pretty close to reaching our goal of #1 overall on the battle spot ladder, which would be absolutely nuts. But you know, the main thing of this series is really to have fun and try out new Pokemon along the way. So win-loss regardless, it's not a big deal, but it would be kind of cool to, peak at first place in the world. But Connor from Ireland with the rating of 1622 is going to be our first opponent of the day. With what seems like a pretty obnoxious team. Not obnoxious, just Clefable in general is always a scary Pokemon to fight up against. We see Salamence, Ferrothorn, Rotom-Wash, Heatran, Mienshao, and Clefable. So, Gardevoir here is really good because of the ability to just spread damage with Hyper Voice, but then, Connor also has 2 steel types, which can definitely be annoying to deal with, though that's kind of what the Terrakion there is for. It is a very well-constructed team on my opponent's end, because I think, the redirection support from Clefable, the fake out, the 2 steel types to cover the fairy weakness, it's very nicely done. So, let's see here. Gengar seems like a pretty good lead, like always, just because it can't get faked out. It can Icy Wind the Salamence should my opponent lead with it. Has a bunch of options. I'm wondering what ability the Clefable has, but probably not going to want to taunt it, assuming it has Unaware. So let's see. I'm going to go with Gengar. Zapdos is actually not terrible in this matchup, because it can paralyze things, it can roost, but I don't know. Zapdos is probably one of the weaker members of this team, just because I'm normally a more heavy offense guy. So I'm going to go with Gengar. I actually am very tempted to go with Gardevoir, but I kind of want to go with Suicune too to set up Tailwind. You know what? I'm going to... Gardevoir puts on more offensive pressure right from the start, so I'm going to go with Gardevoir. Terrakion in the back. Suicune really walls the... Actually, Suicune's really good against the Heatran and the Salamence, so I'm going to bring that. For the last one, I think I need Terrakion to one-hit KO the Ferrothorn and the Heatran. Though now this team in general is actually quite Rotom-Wash weak, so I'm going to need to try to take care of it with Gengar and Gardevoir before it causes too much trouble. Rotom-Wash is an annoying Pokemon to deal with, but the main thing is it doesn't resist many attacks, so you can normally, KO it after 3 hits. So, the thing is, when you have Pokemon that threaten your team heavily, you kind of want to take it down immediately before it does too much damage to your team, so really just try to KO it before it gets like more than 2 or 3 attacks off at most. But I'm going to go with my Gengar Gardevoir leads here, as we see Mienshao and Heatran coming out. Good lead options by my opponent here, as let's see what Gardevoir traces. Traces the Flash Fire, which actually helps me out a lot, because that Heatran can't just Heat Wave against my Gardevoir, which is really nice. So let's see. Mienshao's probably going to fake out Gardevoir here, and I would suspect we're going to see a Heat Wave coming out of that Heatran. So I'm very tempted right now to actually swap my Gengar out into Suicune. I'm actually going to do this. Yeah, I'm going to switch out into Suicune, Mega Evolve, and Protect to see whether he's carrying Flash Cannon on that Gardevoir, or on the Heatran. Though I'm thinking maybe I can just Will-O-Wisp the Mienshao as well. But the question is, do I want to take a Heat Wave? Based off who my opponent has in the back, you know what? I'm just going to... I'm going to switch into Suicune. I don't want to, and Mega Evolve and Protect. And the reason why I'm doing this play is because my opponent can't really touch Suicune, and the Gardevoir tracing Flash Fire means that... Or actually, since I'm Mega Evolving, I'm going to lose Flash Fire. So maybe I could have stayed in normal form here. But I want to scout out what my opponent can go for here, and that way I can put on more offensive pressure because my Gengar can't actually really touch his Heatran, nor can my Gardevoir, so this way at least I have one Pokemon that gives me a better matchup against my opponents too. So Gardevoir is going to go for the Protect here just because even Fake Out damage hurts a lot, as it does go for the Fake Out. And we actually see the Earth Power into Gardevoir as well, so the double target there, maybe I could have Icy Winded or Will-O-Wisp, but you know what, that's fine. Now here I'm definitely in a pretty decent position. I'm going to want to Tailwind here with my Suicune, just because it's a pretty good opportunity to Tailwind. I'm actually thinking of swapping back out into Gengar, because this Gardevoir is really good against my opponent's team in terms of spamming Hyper Voice. Though I don't think my opponent can even KO Mienshao, or KO Gardevoir, so maybe I can just Hyper Voice. Yeah, you know what, I'm just going to stand on Hyper Voice. I don't want to switch too much by lose momentum as a result. So that first turn played out perfectly. I was thinking of Will-O-Wisp being the Mienshao there or Icy Winding, but I decided against it because, like I said, even if I were to get those attacks off, the next turn I'd have a Gengar and Gardevoir out, and those can't really do very much against the Heatran that my opponent has right now. Whereas Suicune can 2-hit KO Heatran with Scald, unless it's a really bulky Heatran, but if it's that bulky, then it's probably going to want to switch out. And the nice thing here is Heatran can't really touch Suicune. Mienshao actually goes straight for a Rock Slide, so I'm okay with that as long as it doesn't flinch. And I actually get the Hyper Voice off, that's really nice. I actually want Scald more right now, though. Mienshao has a Focus Sash, which is actually even more helpful for me, because if I do get the Tailwind up, I can outspeed it this following turn, as we do see a Heat Wave coming out here, but my Pokemon are pretty bulky. As you see, Gardevoir able to hang out 77 HP. Unfortunately, though, Suicune is going to flinch there, so, you know, when you use Rock Slide, you normally expect one of two Pokemon to flinch, so I can't really complain. But here I'm going to go for the Tailwind once again, and this time I'm actually going to swap Gardevoir out into Terrakion. Because after this, if I am able to successfully set up Tailwind this turn, I can close combat and Snarl next turn to pick up 2 KOs. And I do want to save this Gardevoir in case my opponent has Salamence in the back. Or Rotom Wash. And by bringing out Terrakion, you know, the Mienshao is probably going to go for another Rock Slide, so I'm hoping I don't flinch once again here. Flinches are very annoying to deal with, and that is why I like Speed Control. Icy Wind prevents your opponent from even getting Rock Slides off in the first place, but Mienshao goes for the Low Kick onto Suicune there instead, which I'm actually very, very happy to see, because that means Suicune's definitely not going to get flinched this turn, and I'm guaranteed a Rock Slide, as Terrakion actually avoids the Heat Wave there. It doesn't really matter since I have Lumberry, so wouldn't have like broken a potential Sash, and it wouldn't have done very much damage, and Suicune does get the free Tailwind up, which is perfect. So that plays out fantastically for me, as, yeah, really can't complain. These first couple of turns have played out pretty well. So now I'm going to Snarl, because if my opponent wants to switch out, then he's probably going to have to bring out Rotom Wash or Salamence, and both of those, Rotom Wash is definitely a special attacker, Salamence might not be, but regardless, the Suicune can outspeed both of my opponent's Pokemon right now, and Mienshao's already in KO range, so I'm just going to go for the Snarl there. Though Mienshao's sometimes carry Wide Guard, at this point, you know, if it Wide Guards, that's fine. Heatran's just going to get KO'd by a close combat, and I do have 3 full turns of Tailwind right now to take advantage of, so really good first couple of turns right now, and I'm definitely liking my position. But, you know, I haven't been able to do too much damage on my opponent's side, so I do have to try to use this Tailwind to the best of my ability and pick up some KOs right away. We're probably going to see Protects come out. Heatran, a Pokemon that often carries Protect. Mienshao is actually one of those Pokemon in VGC that opt not to use Protect, because it's already feral enough as it is, so you really use it with a full offensive set like Fake Out. You know, we saw Low Kick, Rock Slide. Last one tends to be a support move like Wide Guard, Quick Guard, as it actually does go for the Wide Guard, but like I said, I'm fine with that because Terrakion's just going to get a close combat off against this Heatran. We'll see if it's going to be able to knock it out, though, as it does pick up the KO, which is perfect. So that was basically what I was saying. The one thing I was fearing was a potential Mienshao switch into the Salamence to get the Intimidate off, and an Intimidate would have actually probably prevented me from getting the KO there onto the Heatran, but instead, you know, I'm like, close combat normally KOs Heatran anyway, so that ends up playing out perfectly, as I still have 2 more turns of Tailwind left, and this Mienshao is definitely in some trouble, because it's, you know, slower than both of my Pokemon right now. It's already revealed its full moveset, as Rotom actually comes out here for my opponent. So, knowing that, I'm going to Ice Beam this Mienshao spot, because I would suspect it's going to go for a wide guard this turn, and if it does go for it, that's fine. If it switches out, though, I think Salamence is going to be my opponent's last Pokemon, so I'm guaranteeing a KO regardless, just because the Mienshao revealed all 4 of its attacks, and I'm just going to go for the close combat onto Rotom. I'm fine losing Terrakion or Suicune here. I still have one more turn of Tailwind left, and that means I get a free switch into the Mega Gardevoir I have in the back, and a close combat plus a Hyper Voice should be able to knock out that Rotom Wash. So I definitely feel really strong about my position right now. But Rotom Wash is, like I said, one of the more annoying Pokemon for my team to deal with. So if there's any Pokemon that can give my opponent a chance to get back into it, it's definitely Rotom Wash with Mence in the back. But Mienshao switches out, so show me Salamence, please. Nice! Got him. So Salamence comes in here, and obviously I'm very pleased about that because I just got a Ice Beam KO, on most likely a KO. I'm not sure how bulky the Salamence is actually. Maybe it's EV'd, as close combat actually does a average amount there, obviously because of the Intimidate. But like I said, I was predicting the Salamence switch in, and even if it didn't switch out, I would have KO'd Mienshao anyway. So Ice Beam there does pick up the one-hit KO onto Lamence, and that was definitely the Mega Evolution on my opponent's team, so I'm really happy to have picked up the KO there, as we actually see T-Bolt coming out onto Suicune instead of targeting down the Terrakion slot, which is even better for me. Because Terrakion matches up against this Rotom Wash better than the Suicune does. Like, I'd rather have Terrakion in the late game just to win the game rather than yeah. So I have one more turn of Tailwind left. This Mienshao doesn't have a way to even stop me from KOing it, so all I have to do here is switch out Terrakion to Gardevoir, Sludge Bomb the Mienshao, then it's gonna be a 2-on-1 battle at worst. Mienshao can't outspeed me right now because I do have one last turn of Tailwind, and this is kind of where you see when not having Protect in VGC really hurts you, especially against speed control teams like Trick Room or Tailwind. Knowing my opponent's full moveset allows me to make, you know, guaranteed safe plays, and that's why I Ice Beamed into the Mienshao slot last turn. And yeah, I mean, it played out perfectly. Like you guys saw, I feel like if my opponent was able to, like, for example, get a Dragon Dance up with Mence, it actually would have given me a lot of trouble, but instead I denied any chance of a comeback from there. As Mienshao not going to go for the Fake Out here, probably going for the Rock Slide or maybe the Low Kick into the Terrakion slot. Sludge Bomb there is going to knock it out, so it's a 3-on-1 battle now as Rotom goes for a Hydro Pump into the Gengar slot. Curious decision to Hydro Pump there instead of Thunderbolting, but, you know, that's fine. So now all I have to do is just target it down with attacks. I'm just going to Sludge Bomb and Hyper Voice. I feel like this battle was a really good demonstration of positioning. My opponent definitely had the lead advantage because I did match up very well against the Heatran, as I actually get the poison there with Sludge Bomb. I feel like Sludge Bomb gets so many poisons. Mega Gardevoir is able to get that Hyper Voice off, knocking out the Rotom Wash and picking up a win in the first game of today's episode. So we are able to beat Connor in a pretty close game. I mean, I ended up winning 3-0, but I felt like I was never too ahead. The Mienshao Heatran lead was definitely scary because my lead just couldn't do anything against it, but I am able to notch a win, and I feel like the Suicune switch ended up being really helpful, and my opponent not having Thorn in the back definitely helped out a lot as well, but I'm sure having Heatran and Terrakion in team preview scared it off. So we jumped to 1830 now, so only around 20 points away from first in America, which is pretty neat. And yeah, I mean, I was actually checking my battle history on the battle spot yesterday. It's Purple with a rating of 1738, pretty high rating there. Is going to be our second opponent of the day. But yeah, like I think I've been able to win the last 13 games, which is definitely nice. On battle spot, like it's so easy to win a ton of games and then lose a ton of games as well. Like if you watched last season's battle spot, in the end I ended up tanking my rating from like 1880 all the way down to sub 1800s because I had a really bad losing streak. So the most important thing about battle spot in my opinion is just to go in with the mentality of having fun. Rankings really don't mean anything, especially since they don't even count towards world qualification, but like I said, it would be a pretty nice accomplishment, especially for all the viewers, you guys out there, if we are able to reach the #1 spot. But let's get into this second game of the day. Purple here's got a team of Bishop, Landers T, Rotom Heat, Gengar, Salamence, and Lapras. So, pretty interesting team, especially the Lapras. Everything else looks pretty standard. Salamence most likely the Mega Evolution, but as we saw in the last game, we were able to eliminate it right away. Suicune here actually is very nice because it can kind of wall the Landorus and the Salamence. Gengar can't really do much against it either. Rotom Heat's the one Pokemon I'm kind of scared of, but if I can set up a Tailwind, then I can just outspeed it and Scald it. No Fake Out from my opponent, which is also interesting. I do kind of want to lead with Gengar. I feel like my opponent's going to go with his Gengar lead as well. and it's kind of a testament to how good Gengar is as a Pokemon. I'm gonna go with Gengar, and I think Heatran. Though I guess if my opponent leads with the Lapras, that would be problematic. Zapdos isn't bad here, though I really need to get HP Ice on this Zapdos. I like HP Ice so much more than Heat Wave, and it just like, if I had HP Ice here, I'd have another way to hit the Landers and Salamence for super effective. So I'm gonna go with Gengar. Picking the partner is really tough here. Gardevoir is not bad, honestly. Nor is Suicune. You know what? I'm gonna actually go with Suicune. I'm going to have Heatran. Oh, I'm running out of time. Okay, I went with Gardevoir and Terrakion in the back just because I feel like they have more offensive pressure. Heatran's kind of nice, but there's Landers T on my opponent's end, there's a Suicune on my opponent's end, and Terrakion can one-hit KO early the Bisharp and get super effective damage attacks off against the Rotom Heat, the Lapras, the Salamence, and Gengar's really frail, so Rock Slide can 2-hit KO it anyway. So I'm gonna go with Gengar Suicune as my opponent goes with Gengar Lapras, so Battle of the Water types really coming out here, which is pretty interesting to see. So this is actually quite the interesting matchup right now. I'm definitely, I kind of want to just Tailwind right from the start. Icy Wind and Tailwind? Nah. Though the Gengar might go for a taunt, so maybe I can, I'm going to Icy Wind. Actually, yeah, I'm going to Icy Wind and Snarl. I want to scout out what this Gengar has, and I don't want him to just taunt me. Icy Wind fortunately does connect on both of my opponent's Pokemon, decreasing the speed of both Pokemon, obviously. Breaking a potential Focus Sash, though I wasn't going for a Sash breaking game play here. As Gengar actually goes for the Energy Ball. That's like the last play I would have expected, and that does a whole lot of damage. But as you see, there was a critical hit there, so Suicune able to take that even with the crit, and I am able to further decrease this Gengar special attack with the Snarl. So, not the play I was expecting that first turn from my opponent's end, but interesting to see, as I am able to decrease that Gengar special attack and get some nice damage off against it as well. Lapras, however, does go for the Freeze Dry, which was not what I was anticipating. That might KO me? Nah, almost though. So after that, I definitely want to set up Tailwind this following turn. Kind of want to switch out Gengar here too, just because I don't want my Sash to be broken. So you know what, yeah, I'm going to switch into, but I don't want to get scalded, that's the thing. So you know what, I'm just going to Sludge Bomb the Lapras and Tailwind to set up my Gardevoir and Terrakion in the back. Maybe I could have went more offensive here, but I'm thinking of the long term, and I actually get the poison on Lapras as well, so Sludge Bomb's poison rate is absolutely ridiculous, as Energy Ball, comes out against Suicune. Actually picks up the KO. I did not think that would knock out given the Snarl special attack decrease, but that is end up KOing me, as we do see another Freeze Dry into the Gengar slot. So even though I have a better start, I'm definitely behind in terms of Pokemon, but however, I do get a free switch into my Terrakion in the back, which is, actually, I don't know if I want to bring Terrakion or Gardevoir. Gardevoir might actually make a bit more sense here, just because, nah, I'm gonna go, ooh, this is actually tough. I'm gonna go with Terrakion. The reason behind that is because I can just Rock Slide to KO the Gengar here. Yeah. Now I wonder if my opponent's going to want to switch in Bisharp here, but you know what, I'm going to Icy Wind regardless of the fact knowing my opponent has Bisharp in the back, because if my opponent switches in anything else, Landers, T, Salamence, or Rotom Heat, it's going to be eating up a Rock Slide and an Icy Wind. None of those Pokemon can take it well. Let's say Bisharp comes in and gets the Defiant boost, that's fine, you know, even a +2 Bisharp can't really do much to a Terrakion and a Gengar when I outspeed and I can Will-O-Wisp and double kick it. So, normally you don't want to use these, you know, special attack or speed dropping moves like Icy Wind or Snarl or whatnot against potential Bisharps in the back, but honestly, given the position I'm in, I'm willing to take that risk because everything else in the back gets hit pretty darn hard. But yeah, Energy Ball Gengar is definitely a newer one. We saw Thunderbolt in, I think it wasn't yesterday, two days ago, that Soon had on his Gengar. And it does allow Gengar to at least hit these bulky water types a bit better, because otherwise it's just completely walled. We are going to see Gengar switch out here. I presume Bisharp's coming in here. But it's actually going to be Landers, and this is why I made the play I did. However, in retrospect, I'm not actually sure if this was a great idea, because with the Intimidate, I might not be able to knock out the Lapras. But Lapras goes for the Ice Shard. Okay. I guess he was expecting a close combat onto it. But getting that Ice... Oh my gosh, I actually knock out the Landers. That was probably a crit. Yeah, it was. I didn't really need it, actually. Like, I would have been fine if I didn't get it, but, this ends up working out perfectly. Rock Slide here does connect with Lapras, and I think it might be able to KO with the Poison. So, RNG has definitely been on my side this match, because I got the Poison obviously onto Lapras and the crit onto Landorus, but quite honestly, I really don't think I needed either of those, given the position I've been early on. But I do knock out both of those, which is really nice, and I still have Tailwind left, so things are looking real solid for me right now, as my opponent's gonna have Gengar. I guess Salamence is the last Pokemon. Maybe Bisharp, though. It's Salamence. Okay. That's perfect, especially because I've got Gardevoir in the back. That's probably Mega Salamence though, so I'm wondering what kind of Mega Mence set it really is carrying. So I'm just gonna Icy Wind and Rock Slide here. The game's still not over though, despite me being ahead. You know, it's definitely far from over. For example, if Salamence protects here and I somehow miss the KO onto Gengar, my opponent's Gengar can, I guess, retaliate back and KO my Gengar or Icy Wind. I'm really not sure though. We'll see. I think Icy Wind and Rock Slide can knock out the Gengar though, but I did get intimidated twice with this Terrakion. However, I don't really want to switch out right now because I still have Tailwind up, so I want to take advantage of the speed and just get damage off as quickly as possible. We're gonna see Mega Man's probably Mega Evolve here, or Mega Vent. Salamence Mega Evolve, which it does. I'd guess Protect coming out here to stall out the Tailwind and to get the Speed Raise, but if it doesn't Protect, it's a goner, and it doesn't Protect. Wow, that's a... I don't know, I mean, at this point, you really should be protecting with Mence, allowing me to get an Icy Wind off here. It shows you the power of how good Icy Wind Gengar really is. As a Gengar is actually faster and gets the Will-O-Wisp off, but Lum Terrakion is a boss, and I am able to burn that Will-O-Wisp off, and I am going to be able to get a Rock Slide off here. That's basically going to be game. Fortunately connecting with both of my opponent's Pokemon. Let's see how much damage it actually does. And you see how bulky Mence there is. Of course, I did get intimidated twice, but Mega Salamence is one of the bulkier Mega Evolutions, as it does go for a double edge here against the Gengar, probably going to knock me out, as it does. But that's fine because it's going to take recoil damage and actually KO itself, so I'm able to win the second game of the day 2-0. And I am glad I ended up bringing the Terrakion, though I guess if I brought out Gardevoir in that position it would have been fine, but the reason why I brought out Terrakion over Gardevoir when I had Tailwind up was because I knew my opponent potentially had Rotom Heat in the back, to which Rotom Heat can't really, you know, switch into Rock Slides, but it can switch into Hyper Voices. So that team, or that battle, really demonstrated the power of Tailwind, you know. Terrakion would spread damage, and Gengar really just overwhelmed my opponent. And that first turn was kind of weird. I wasn't expecting the Energy Ball from my opponent, but that was a really cool battle. Definitely two great games today as we end up notching 2 wins. So now I should be second in the US once again. And as we check our rating, 1843. So we're 1 win away from reaching 1850 and first in the US, which is neat. Anyway, that's it for today's episode, guys. Leave a like as always if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. All right, peace.